Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new Last of Us spoiler review here at Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg. Today, we are breaking down season two, episode three of The Last of Us, titled The Path. So, if you're new to the channel, guys, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie and TV show reviews, out of theater reactions, movie franchise rankings, box office breakdown shows. If you like any one of those things, this is the channel for you. Subscribe and ring that bell. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3? Are you someone who stopped watching Last of Us after the events of Episode 2? Or are you someone who wants to see this finish out? Or are you someone like me who's playing the game, knows where we're headed, and staying on to see how we get there in the show version? Let me know, respond to all comments. And also, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. It helps YouTube recommend my videos to more people. So once again, guys, I would say 95% of this review today will be full-on TV show spoiler reviews where I don't hint at anything in the future as pertains to spoilers. The last kind of 2 or 3 minutes of the video will be hinting at me talking about stuff that will happen in the game that I'm seeing if that will happen either next week or down the road. So let's get into spoiler fashion and spoilers just for this episode, season 2, episode 3 of Last of Us. So obviously this was going to be a tough task for a lot of people because a lot of people did turn on this show, obviously, just like a lot of people did playing the game back in 2020, which is when Joel dies. Now, the biggest difference is when you buy a video game, it's even if you're pissed off like I was really pissed that they killed Joel, and the way they manipulated the gamer on how he played it out was very manipulative, and I had to take like an hour or two break. But the good news with the game is not just have you already bought it, you already spent a boatload of money just to play the games. You're not gonna stop an hour in or a couple hours into playing. But two, you can just kind of keep going and play for as long as you need to get through the story. With a show, you have to wait, episode by episode and year to year as pertains to seasons. And that is very tough for viewers. And I knew a lot of people were going to be like in the camp of and review bombing the show and being the camp of I'm never watching Last of Us again because Joel is dead. And this episode has to follow that. And not just does it have the responsibility really of once again being another great episode of television, but making people who maybe were on the fence of jumping ship to stay on the show, give the viewer some energy to keep wanting to watch Last of Us. And that is a tough task. Now, I do believe this was a very solid episode. Now, I did say it was an incredible episode in my instant reaction, but I did sleep on it, think to myself more about what happened, and I do have a little bit more problems now with the episode as I slept on it and thought about it. Again, I don't watch people's reviews or breakdowns until after I get done my review, so this is all just based on my research and my thoughts and stuff. And I will say it's a very solid episode. I think it does a really good job letting you sit and breathe in the fact of Joel's death. You have Ellie's reaction, Tommy's reaction, Dina's reaction, and then you also have the added element that's not in the game, which was the effects of this invasion of the infected onto Jackson. And how not just did Ellie and Tommy lose someone very close to them, but the whole community itself had a lot of losses. A lot of people in Jackson lost family members, and I think that itself made the episode a lot more depressing, which I'm all for because you don't want to be like, all right, guys, let's just go on this journey. Yay, let's go on this journey. You have to really sit and breathe in Joel dying. You have Ellie's reaction out of the hospital. You have her at Joel's house. And that's where Dina becomes such an amazing character. I do want to say Isabel Merced is incredible as Dina. She's really, really good in the show. She obviously has very good chemistry with Ellie, but she is a character that is very tough to fit in tonally because obviously she has this connection with Ellie, but she's bringing a lot of heart and emotion to the show, as well as some life, heart, comedy, hopefulness to the show. That's a lot on a plate for an actor. And I think Merced does a really good job with all of that in the show. And she's, I think, a huge standout here. We get a really emotional scene between Ellie and Tommy, where after Dina tells Ellie the WLFs and the Washington Liberation Front. And we get the names of all the characters that I've again said here on this video, on these reviews. And Ellie wants just to go after them, and Tommy says we need to take this to the council, which again, the council's not in the game. And basically, after talking to Jesse, she needs to write everything out because Angry is not going to sell, wanting 15 or 16 of the top people in Jackson just to get basically revenge on Joel. And this brings up a lot of good points. And it's really the point of the Last of Us universe, both in the game and the show, is that there's really no heroes or villains here. Everyone is really the hero of their own story, or everyone has a very unique perspective. Yes, from our perspective, Abby is an awful person for killing Joel. But if you look at everything from Abby's perspective, you would think differently. And that's kind of the point of the show in this town hall sequence, because one of the people's like, I have a sister who died, and we need to regroup Jackson. We can't send all these people out here. And then what happens if for some reason another horde of things come at us? What are we going to do? And we're all doing it just to kill one person who killed Joel, while all of us did lose people. Then you have Seth, very old school, who again said some bigot stuff to Ellie back in the first episode, is defending Ellie and saying, we need the revenge. And then Ellie goes from, it's not revenge, it's justice. And she turned this, it's a lie. Her speech was a lie, which was she's talking about it all through the eyes of the community, how important it is for the community to unite involved in going after the killers of Joel. And you can see Tommy kind of nodding throughout. You can feel like Tommy, Maria, and Jesse were the people who said yes, because it was 8 no's and 3 yeses. Again, Ellie's lying because it's not about the community. It's about really her rage and emotional revenge she wants to get on Abby. And that's when, after this meeting, she gets told no. She is about to leave Jackson with just guns blazing, which obviously will get her killed in seconds. That is where Dina comes in, because Dina's like, we have a plan. I got to do this. We got to bring this. We got to do this. We got to bring the one horse, all of this stuff on the journey. And that's when Seth helps him also escape. And Dina's the perfect person to help, with this plan. They hint at something that I'll bring up in also these video game spoiler breakdown. I was thinking about, should I save this for the video game spoiler part of this video, or this? I will do it for this part, actually. This does not hint at future elements of the game. A big change that I do not like, that I'm completely against so far in the show, is after the events of Joel's death, Ellie, like in the show, goes to Tommy and explains everything. And, Maria and Tommy turn her down. And Tommy says they can let all this stuff. They wake up the next morning and Tommy is gone. Tommy in the game is the first one who goes off to Seattle trying to find Abby and the WLFs. Then that's when Maria comes in and tells Ellie and Dina, says, you aren't just trying to get revenge on, this mission's not about trying to get revenge. This mission is making sure Tommy is not dead and bringing Tommy back here. And then Ellie and Dina go off and on their mission, because not just are they trying to get revenge, they're trying to make sure Tommy is okay and to save Tommy's life. Because Tommy's going out there, guns blazing by himself. And I think I am very nervous if they just keep Tommy and Jackson in this entire season, because it is an essential part of the game and story that Tommy is out there by himself. And it puts a lot of, strain on Maria, and obviously still puts a lot of strain on Ellie, Dina, and Jesse, that he is just out there trying to kill people, and he's by himself with no backup. And that's when even Ellie has even more drive to go out there. I do think it's a massive mistake. As of now, I could be proven wrong, a massive mistake that they did not have Tommy go out and then Ellie go. Ellie just goes with Dina, and Tommy, as of now, just stays. He has a conversation with Gail, but that was kind of it. Tommy is one of the most important characters emotionally in part 2 of the game. Loved his opening scene in this show when he's, washing off the body of Joel. but I think it could be a huge mistake not having Tommy go out first and blindly want to get revenge. So we will see if eventually it's Tommy who wants to go after Ellie. Maybe he finds out that Ellie goes off and then Tommy wants to go. We shall see. But I did think it was a mistake. They're not going that route. We also get introduced to the Seraphites. Those are the people who do the whistling. We see the father and daughter, and they get gunned down by the WLF. The Seraphites and the WLFs are obviously are at war with each other, and they are in very important factions in the show. And obviously, the big twist in this towards the end of the episode for people who don't play the game is the WLFs are not just that group of 5 or 6 people who killed Joel in the beginning of the show. They are a huge militia with tons and thousands of people. And that will make things very difficult because it seemed easy. If you're not someone who plays the game, very easy. Ellie and Dina are on their way to Seattle. It's quiet. There's not a lot of action. Yes, I see people gunned down, but they just make them, because it's still not a lot of Seraphites, they get killed. They still think it's just Abby's crew. But as they show towards the end of the episode, it is going to be pretty hard, not just to get to go through Seattle unharmed, but even just to get to Abby, to have the chance to kill her. So that's where they leave the episode. I think it was a very good episode. They're still hinting at the Dina and Ellie relationship, which I enjoyed. I still think the Tommy element, this part of the episode, this whole episode was really like a 5 to 10 minute chunk in the game. And as someone who played the game, you can kind of feel them trying to drag this out as long as they can. So you can tell some elements just don't feel necessary to the overall story. We can kind of get to things quicker in the game. Here, we kind of have to keep dragging things out. So that's my one negative. And on a story level, as I said, not having Tommy go out is a massive mistake. Now, if you're not familiar with the video game at all, you haven't played the game, you just want to watch the show and get my thoughts on the show, thanks for joining me. You can head out now because I am finally going to talk about some video game spoilers about what they set up in this episode and what's going to be happening down the line. So thanks for joining me. Like the video, subscribe. Now I'm waving my hands, guys. Now, video game spoilers incoming starting now. I will say, so they do hint in this episode that obviously we know if you were a play Last of Us Part 2, that Dina is pregnant with Jesse's kid. And we learn also, because there's a 3-month time jump from Joel's death until the beginning of this episode. And Dina tells Ellie that she got back with Jesse. And that obviously is going to set up the fact that they got together and Dina is pregnant. Dina does throw up in the episode, just like in the game, when she sees a bunch of dead bodies, but we learn in the game it's not because she's afraid of all these bodies on the ground, it's that she is pregnant. So they're obviously, I believe, setting that up in this episode. We do see the Seraphites. I do think on an issue level, the Seraphites are one of the most intimidating parts of Part 2, and they're making them very harmless so far, and they're making the WLFs very villainous. And I think they made both sides a lot more complex in the game, hoping they do that in the show as well. And as I said, I do think it's an important element of the game that Tommy is in the field, because that's why Maria also sends Jesse out later in the game to try to help out as well. So because you have multiple people, you have really, because in the game, when Jesse catches up with Ellie and Dina, Dina's pregnant, and Jesse's sole mission is to bring Tommy back, while Ellie goes on a different path. She just wants to kill Abby. So I do think we need Tommy in the field to then have Jesse come in the field. So we will see. But that is my spoiler thoughts on The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below. Subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys soon.